About a year ago, in the middle of the pandemic, I woke up to an orange sky outside. For 20 years, I had been reading about climate change and doing my part when clear action was spelled out, but mostly living my life. But after a year of isolation during a global pandemic, the doom scrolling had taken over. Everywhere I turned, now actually literally, the world was ending. I couldn't escape it. Most of those in Gen X, the millennials, and the Zoomers have heard about climate change for over half of their life, but in the past it felt like one disaster at a time. Or at least it did to me. But if you check out the charts at the National Center for Environmental Information, who has an extensive data set going back to 1980, you start to see that it's not just how you feel and what the news is reporting, there are actually more and more events happening. So if you spend time wondering if you should turn vegan or if you shouldn't have children, or worrying about your carbon footprint, I get it. That's eco-anxiety or climate dread, a sense of dread, gloom, and almost paralyzing helplessness that is rising as we come to terms with the greatest existential challenge of our generation, or in any generation. It's that feeling that maybe nothing you will do will matter or can matter. So why bother? Environmental worries are real and scary and legitimate. It's not in your head. They sometimes also cause severe anxiety and distress, so aggravated as to be discussed within the framework of psychotherapy, which is my job. While no extensive research exists, this phenomena is starting to be addressed in smaller papers and research. The best framework that I have seen to develop a path forward involves basic themes from existentialism. Makes sense. Existential crisis, existentialism. Existentialism is concerned with the inescapable aspects of human existence and addresses the recurrent questions of human struggles like, what am I doing here? What is the point of striving towards a goal when death is an inevitable end? How can I live in a worthwhile life? How can one find happiness in a world full of suffering? Does any of this sound familiar? Does it sound familiar within the context of climate change? The lens of the existential framework is to see climate change not as a problem to be solved, but as a series of dilemmas and paradoxes to be accepted and lived with openness and authenticity. I've linked a great online explanation of the intricacies of existentialism from Dr. Paul Wong in the description. Confronting, exploring, and moving through these questions can take years of therapy with an excellent therapist. Probably not what you're looking for here. This video isn't about condensing 4 years of therapy into 20 minutes, but it is a lens in which we can talk how to begin living with and confronting this climate dread. All right, cool. So now that we know I'm not just making this up, what are you supposed to do? Well, here are 5 steps to start moving you from hopelessness to freedom and responsibility. Step 1, just acknowledge the death anxiety, spatiality, and temporality of your own feelings. What does this even mean? It means, hey, you're anxious. Yeah, it's happening right now. And guess what? You won't feel this way in 10 minutes. Maybe it'll take an hour, maybe it'll take a day. The point is, you cannot literally feel like this forever. Eventually you'll get hungry or tired or annoyed at the driver in front of you or irritated that your kids didn't do their homework. You're not alone, and it's okay for it to suck. So just let it for that minute or two. 2, start talking about it and build a community. One of the ways that existential anxiety does is it isolates us. I'm the only one who feels this way. You are not the only one who feels this way. A lot of people are feeling this way. So go find them. Look, I'm making a whole YouTube video, and I'm not even the first person to make a YouTube video out of this. I'm sure you're going to get dozens of recommendations if you clicked on this video. That's one form of community. And the more you talk about it, the more you can start thinking about solutions or just how it feels. And that's really the most important part of step 2. 3, look for uncertainty and meaning. Okay? The world is uncertain. And build meaning from that uncertainty. Okay? One of the best things about the American model is that we have 50 states and a gazillion cities, and they're all doing something different. I've linked in the explanation 9 cities that are leading in different ways on climate change. They're literally doing different things. They're prioritizing different things, different infrastructure projects, different financing projects, different community outreach. And part of it's geography, right? Arizona doesn't need to worry about sea change rise. Miami is desperately concerned with that. But it also means they're trying different models, and that uncertainty is a good thing. And so look for the meaning inside of uncertainty. All right, next. How can I live with authenticity and freedom with small steps? There is some really cool stories of small steps that people are taking. But it does take hope. It does take a willingness to be wrong, and it takes a willingness to keep going. I linked in the background a story for a man who lived in Arizona who wanted to collect rain, who wanted to help solve his water crisis. And he worked for 9 years to work on this project. It doesn't happen overnight, doesn't need to happen overnight, but it just needs to happen. So look for those small stories and small steps that you can take. And finally, take responsibility with advocating for a bigger change. Okay? There's a great site on energy.gov where you get to meet energy champions. My favorite story is Gia Schneider, who is building some really fabulous new water hydro dams that specifically address the need for fish to get through, right? Does it solve everything? No, but it's one step. Again, what are you noticing? It's looking for the small steps. It's looking for the changes. So what are they? 1, just acknowledge you're having feelings and that they're going to pass. 2, start talking about it and build community. 3, look for the uncertainty. Embrace the uncertainty. 4, take small steps to help build your own authenticity and freedom. And 5, take responsibility by starting to advocate. All right, thank you and have a great day.